Well, one thing that really stands out to me there is that I remember hearing one time of a study that was done with people taking psychedelic drugs, and one of the findings from that study was that they did personality tests. And 2 years beyond taking those drugs, they found that basically every single person who'd taken the psychedelic drugs rated higher in terms of openness to experience on their personality test 2 years after one single dose. So it was as if that the change in their understanding of the world that was given to them by the psychedelic drugs, and which I wonder if potentially this spiritual experience that we're talking about today, that could provide the same level of insight and understanding that could potentially lead us to having more of these open conversations in the future, I wonder.
That's a really interesting thing, and without wanting to get too technical about it, so I'll be brief, but my master's thesis research with war veterans was on the notion of absorption, or something related to openness to experience, and its relationship with PTSD. And I've only just heard in the last couple of days that this phenomenon of absorption, which relates to openness to experience or openness to fantasy or thinking of things in terms of images, which is normally a positive and helpful personality trait, it might also lead people to be a little bit more likely to be open to mystical and transpersonal experiences. But it also relates to hypnotizability, and it can also lead people to be more prone to what we call dissociative symptoms or dissociative disorders that we've talked about in the past. And that could be a different kind of thing where people have a sense of amnesia, so periods of missing time or standing outside their body and looking on as though they're looking at another person. So there's something about this dimension of absorption or openness to experience that also can make it more likely that we experience non-ordinary states of consciousness. So part of it is to try and get a sense of what is the nature of non-ordinary states of consciousness? What kind of things might be, well, even helpful, like certain kinds of mystical or transpersonal experience. Often spiritual experience can help our health and well-being. Hence, they're also exploring that more with PTSD and psychedelic drugs. But there also can be, through, say, absorption, more likely that people will have some unhelpful dissociative symptoms, including amnesia and periods of missing time, and a sense of their identity altering as though they're a number of different people at the one time. But also, it can be just part of generally a more openness to life generally and openness to experience generally, which is a healthy and helpful thing usually. So we're looking to understand some of these influences on our psychological functioning, if you like, and to identify some of the differences between certain types of phenomena. I suppose getting back to our original topic of helping separate the psychospiritual from psychosis.